Sit alone in the crowded room or stare at your phone in the quiet dark. Feel the heavy, quiet impression in your spirit that your name is being spoken by the Creator of the universe. Perhaps, chosen one, you are sitting in a room full of laughter and conversation right now, yet feeling entirely isolated. You are surrounded by people, surrounded by noise, and yet a deep, persistent whisper is cutting through it all. You have spent years trying to fit into the molds that others built for you. You have worked with all your might to build a life that looks successful on the outside. And yet, in the quiet spaces of your mind, you know that something is missing. You feel a constant, restless longing that no human relationship, no career success, and no amount of entertainment can quiet. You have tried to drown out this whisper with activity, with work, and with plans. But the voice does not go away. It persists, gentle yet unshakable, calling you out of the ordinary and into the sacred. The enemy whispers to you in this unrest that you are simply losing your mind or becoming ungrateful. He tells you that you should be satisfied with the life you have built. He wants you to believe that this longing is a curse that will only lead to isolation. But the spiritual reality is that this restlessness is the kiss of God upon your soul. Your longing is not a disease. It is, in truth, the start of a divine alignment. God is deliberately making you uncomfortable in the ordinary. He's calling you by name out of the crowd because He has set you apart for a purpose that cannot be fulfilled in the noise. He is separating you so that you will finally listen to the whisper of His Spirit. For a long time, you have tried to follow the crowd, doing what everyone else does to find peace. But you were not made to follow the crowd. You were made to follow the shepherd. This is the first sign that Jesus is calling your name right now. The personal, intimate recognition of His voice in the ordinary noise of life. When He calls you, He does not address a generic audience. He addresses your specific heart. He does not look at your titles, your achievements, or your mistakes. He looks at your true identity. As long as you try to hide in the crowd, you will never hear the specific instructions He has for your life. So, He creates a quiet space around you. He allows the crowd to feel distant, even when they are standing right next to you. He allows the things that used to satisfy you to become tasteless and boring. He is bringing you to the place where you must look up and say, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." Those words are the beginning of your true calling. They are the most powerful alignment you can ever enter. Because when you answer His personal call, you step out of the heavy burden of trying to please everyone else. The calling is not a demand for performance. It is an invitation into relationship. Before you can carry His presence to others, you must learn to sit in His presence alone. You must stop trying to patch up your life with human noise. You must allow the silence to do its holy work. In his classic address, The Weight of Glory, C.S. Lewis captured this deep mystery of the personal call. He wrote that the promise of glory is not merely that we shall see God, but that we shall be seen by Him. He explained that to be loved by Him, to be recognized by Him, and to be called by Him is the true end of our existence. Lewis wrote that, in the end, we will either be welcomed with words like, "Well done, good and faithful servant," or we will be left in outer darkness. He declared that the deepest longing of every human soul is to be personally known by its Creator. Think about this profound truth. We spend our lives trying to be seen by others. We work ourselves to exhaustion to get approval, to be liked, and to be recognized by human eyes. We post our lives on screens, hoping someone will notice us and tell us we matter. But human recognition is a shallow pool that dries up in a single day. It cannot fill the deep well of your soul. God is looking at you right now, in your quiet room. and He is offering you the ultimate recognition. He knows the number of hairs on your head, and He knows the silent tears you cried when no one else was looking. He does not call you because of what you can do for Him. He calls you because you belong to Him. Yet, as long as you are seeking the spotlight of the world, you cannot see the light of His face. So, He dims the lights of the world. He allows your popularity to fade and your human support to fall away. He isolates you because He loves you too much to let you be destroyed by the applause of the crowd. The loss of human approval is the eviction from the trap of people-pleasing. It is the preparation for the weight of His glory. Do not weep over the relationships that have grown cold or the invitations that no longer come. Let the crowd go. Let the noise fade. Let your name be spoken by the only voice that matters. The Gospel of John records this beautiful, intimate relationship between the Master and His own. Jesus spoke of Himself as the Good Shepherd who knows His flock completely. In the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 3, He declared, He calls His own sheep by name and leads them out. Let these sovereign words wrap around your heart like a warm shield today. He calls His own sheep by name and leads them out. He knows your specific name. He does not call you sinner, failure, or rejected. He calls you by the name He wrote in the book of life before the foundation of the world. And notice what He does after He calls you. He leads you out. He leads you out of the heavy religious systems that require you to perform. He leads you out of the toxic relationships that demand you to compromise. He leads you out of the dry wilderness of worry and self-reliance. He does not leave you in the noise. He leads you into the green pastures of His peace. So, do not resist the leading. Do not look back at the crowd you are leaving behind. Trust the shepherd's voice, even when the path He leads you on looks lonely. He is not leading you to abandon you. He is leading you to prepare you. If you are ready to listen to His voice, to leave the noise behind, and to follow Him wherever He leads, make this your declaration. Leave a comment below. He knows my name. Write it now. He knows my name. And let the peace of His personal call quiet your searching soul, chosen one. Have you ever stood by your window in the deep stillness of the night, staring out into the dark? You look at the empty streets, feeling a persistent, quiet ache of emptiness in your chest. You have spent the entire day busy with work, conversations, and duties. But now, in the quietness, the noise has cleared away, and the ache is waiting for you. It is a strange, heavy sensation, like a homesickness for a place you have never visited. You try to soothe it by checking your phone, scrolling through social media, or planning your next project. But instead of finding comfort, the screen feels cold, the distractions feel empty, and the ache only deepens. It feels as if someone is standing just outside the boundary of your awareness, calling you. You think, why can I not just be content with my life? What is this constant, quiet pressure that will not let me rest? The enemy whispers to you in this longing that you are simply unsatisfied, restless, or broken. He tells you that you will never find peace, no matter what you achieve or obtain. He wants you to believe that this emptiness is a sign of your deficiency. But you must understand the true spiritual nature of this persistent ache. The ache is not a sign of emptiness. It is, in truth, the sound of a persistent knock at the door of your heart. Jesus is standing at the threshold, knocking quietly and waiting for your response. He is not trying to disrupt your peace. He is trying to disrupt your complacency. For a long time, you have kept Him in the guest room of your life, visiting Him only when you needed help. You wanted Him to be a savior in times of trouble, but not the Lord of your daily decisions. But Jesus loves you too much to remain a guest in a house that He bought with His own blood. So, He knocks at the door of your heart, demanding entrance to the deep, hidden rooms. He remains persistent, refusing to walk away, because he wants to occupy every space in your life. He is teaching you to listen for his hand upon the wood of your soul. In his classic address, The Weight of Glory, C.S. Lewis wrote beautifully about this lifelong longing. He described it as a desire that is always present within us, yet always out of reach. He wrote that we have been knocking on a door all our lives, wondering what lies behind it. Lewis declared, "The door on which we have been knocking all our lives will open at last." He explained that our deep longing for beauty, for love, and for meaning is not a delusion. It is the echo of the home we were created to inhabit. Think about this powerful truth. We spend our lives knocking on earthly doors, hoping they will lead us to satisfaction. We knock on the door of career advancement, believing that success will make us feel complete. We knock on the door of human relationships, hoping that someone else's love will heal our wounds. We knock on the door of material possession, thinking that luxury will bring us security. But when those doors finally open, we step inside only to find another empty room. The success fades, the relationships change, and the possessions lose their shine. The door we have been knocking on all our lives is not an earthly door. It is a spiritual doorway, and the key is held by the one who is knocking from the other side. When Jesus knocks on your door, he's inviting you to stop pounding on the doors of the world. He is telling you that the satisfaction you have been searching for in the crowd is found only in him. He keeps knocking because he knows that if he stops, you will settle for a small, comfortable cage. The persistent ache you feel is the sound of his hand upon your life, calling you to the threshold. It is the warning that the door is about to open, and you must be ready to step through. Do not try to ignore the knock by turning up the volume of the world. Do not run to alternative doors that promise a quick, cheap escape. Be still at the door. Listen to the rhythm of his love. Prepare your heart to yield. The sovereign Lord has never been a passive observer of your life. He is an active pursuer of your soul. In the final book of the scripture, the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 20, Jesus declared, "Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person, and they with me." Let these holy, comforting words wash over your tired spirit today. I stand at the door and knock. Notice the posture of the Savior. He stands and he knocks. He does not force his way in. He does not break down the door of your will. He respects the boundary of your choice, yet he remains persistent in his request. And notice the promise. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in. He's not asking you to clean up the house before you open the door. He is not telling you to fix your mistakes, sort out your confusion, or gather your strength first. He simply asks you to open the door as you are, in your weakness and your mess. When you turn the handle of surrender, he steps into your chaos and brings the order of his presence. He sits down with you, sharing his peace, his strength, and his vision for your life. The meal he offers is not temporary comfort. It is eternal nourishment. So do not keep him waiting at the threshold any longer. Stop trying to negotiate the terms of his entry. Do not say, "Tomorrow I will open, when I am stronger, when I am better." Open the door today, in the middle of your weakness, and let the King of Glory enter. If you are ready to let him in, to stop running from the ache, and to yield control to him, make this your declaration. Leave a comment below. I open the door. Write it now. I open the door. And let the light of his presence flood the dark rooms of your soul. Chosen one. Have you ever wondered why God will not just let you go? You have tried to walk away from your calling, when the path became too painful and narrow. You have tried to compromise, choosing a smaller, easier life that did not require so much from you. You wanted to settle for an ordinary existence, free from the heavy demands of His presence. But every time you tried to step back into the comfort of the crowd, He was there to block your way. He disturbed your comfort, ruined your compromises, and closed the doors you tried to open. It felt as if He was pursuing you with an almost terrifying intensity, refusing to let you sleep. You felt a heavy pressure in your spirit, a persistent conviction that would not leave you alone. In those moments of frustration, you may have cried out, "Why can you not just leave me in peace? Why must you watch my every step, correct my every mistake, and challenge my every compromise?" The enemy whispers to you in this friction that God is harsh, demanding, and impossible to please. He tells you that God's constant correction is the proof that He is angry with you. He wants you to believe that the pressure you feel is the sign of a hard taskmaster who does not care. But you must understand the true, glorious reality of this divine pressure. The pursuit of God is not a sign of His anger. It is, in truth, the ultimate proof of His inexorable, consuming love for you. He will not let you go because He loves you too much to let you destroy yourself. He will not allow you to settle for the mud pies of the slum because He has purchased a holiday at the sea for you. For a long time, you have thought that His calling was a test of your performance. You thought He was watching you to see if you would fail so He could punish you. But God is not a critic. He is a loving Father who is jealous for your destiny. So He pursues you with a relentless grace, blocking every path that would lead you away from His presence. He makes you miserable in your compromises because He knows that those compromises would only break your heart. He is weeding out the counterfeits in your life because He wants to give you the real treasure. In his profound book on suffering, The Problem of Pain, C.S. Lewis wrote about this relentless love of God. He wrote that we want a God who is a grandfatherly figure, someone who simply wants us to be comfortable. We want a deity who does not make demands, but simply pats us on the head and lets us go our own way. But Lewis declared, God has paid us the intolerable compliment of loving us in the deepest, most tragic, most inexorable sense. He explained that God's love is not a soft, sentimental feeling. It is a consuming fire. It is a love that demands our perfection because He loves us too much to leave us in our brokenness. Think about this challenging phrase, the intolerable compliment. When someone loves you deeply, they cannot be indifferent to your self-destruction. If a father sees his child playing in the middle of a busy highway, he does not speak in a soft, polite whisper. He does not respect the child's freedom to choose. He runs onto the road, grabs the child by the arm, and pulls them to safety. The child may cry. The child may complain that the grip is too tight and hurts, but the father does not let go. The tightness of the father's grip is the measure of his love. In the same way, the tight, pressing grip of God upon your life is the measure of His love for you. The closed doors, the broken plans, and the sudden disruptions are His hands pulling you out of the traffic of the world. It feels intolerable to your flesh because your flesh wants to play in the dirt of self-will. But to God, you are not a cheap ornament. You are a prized possession. He has paid you the intolerable compliment of loving you with an inexorable, eternal love. He will not let you settle for a cheap, temporary house because He is building a palace of His glory in you. Do not fight the tightness of His grip tonight. Do not mistake His pursuit for hostility. Yield to the fire of His love. Let the counterfeits burn away. Rest in the security of His possessive grace. The prophet Isaiah brought this message of absolute security and ownership to a fearful nation. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 1. The sovereign Lord declared, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine." Let these sacred words of ownership anchor your soul in the middle of the storm today. I have called you by name. You are mine. Notice the sequence of His grace. He redeemed you first, paying the price for your soul before you even knew Him. Then He called you by name, making the relationship personal, intimate, and specific. And finally, He declared His absolute ownership over you. You are mine. When God says you are mine, He is not just claiming you, He is promising to protect you. He is saying that whatever touches you touches Him. He is declaring that the enemy cannot steal you out of His hand, and that your failures cannot cancel His ownership. You do not need to fight to protect yourself because you belong to the Creator of the universe. You do not need to worry about your future because the owner of your soul is managing the details. The calling is not a burden you must carry. It is the privilege of being carried by Him. So let go of the fear of abandonment today. Stop trying to prove your worth to Him. Rest in the simple, quiet reality of His ownership. If you are ready to yield to His relentless love, to accept His ownership, and to trust His grip, make this your declaration. Leave a comment below. I belong to Him. Write it now. I belong to Him. And let the security of His inexorable love quiet your weary heart. Chosen one. Have you ever watched a dream you worked for years to build suddenly crumble into dust? You had a plan for your family, your career, or your finances that made perfect sense. You thought you were building a good, quiet, comfortable life. But then, out of nowhere, the hammer fell. The walls of your security were knocked down. The floorboards of your comfort were ripped up, and your life was thrown into chaos. It felt as if a destructive force had entered your home, determined to ruin everything you loved. You looked at the rubble of your plans and cried out, "Why is God allowing this destruction? What did I do to deserve this pain?" The enemy whispers to you in these ruins that God is a destroyer who wants to make you homeless. He tells you that your life is being reduced to nothing because God does not care about your dreams. He wants you to believe that the dust around you is the proof of His anger. But you must understand the true architectural reality of this demolition. The demolition is not a sign of destruction. It is, in truth, the necessary preparation for a massive expansion. God is not trying to leave you homeless. He is simply clearing the ground to build something infinitely grander. For a long time, you have wanted Him to make minor repairs to your small life. You wanted Him to patch the leaks in your roof, paint the walls of your cottage, and fix the drains. But God has no interest in simply decorating your limitations. He is not a handyman. He is the master architect. He is tearing down the cottage of your limitations because He wants to build a palace of His presence in your life. He intends to come and live in it Himself. He is making the structure larger because the glory He wants to pour into you cannot fit inside a cottage. He is knocking the walls about because He wants to expand your spiritual capacity. In his classic book, Mere Christianity, C.S. Lewis shared a brilliant metaphor that explains this painful construction. He wrote that we must imagine ourselves as a living house that God has decided to rebuild. At first, you might understand what He is doing. He's fixing the drains and stopping the leaks. You know those repairs are necessary, so you are not surprised by the work. But suddenly, the builder starts knocking the house about in a way that hurts terribly. He starts smashing walls, pulling up floors, and building new wings. You thought you were being made into a decent little cottage where you could live in peace. But Lewis wrote, he is building a palace. He intends to come and live in it himself. Let this powerful image quiet the panic of your soul today. The hammer that is hitting your life is held by the hand of the builder. The demolition of your small plans is because his blueprint for you is cosmic, eternal, and full of glory. You are crying over the loss of your cottage because you cannot see the blueprint of the palace. You think you are being ruined, but you are actually being enlarged. He is tearing down your tiny safety nets because he wants you to rely on the solid foundation of his presence. He is knocking down your limitations because he wants to release his limitless power through you. Do not fight the builder's hammer. Do not try to patch up the walls that he is intentionally throwing down. Let the cottage go. Trust the hand that holds the blueprint, even when the dust of demolition is all you can see. The palace he is building will stand forever. The sovereign Lord carried this message of hope and architectural design to an exiled and broken people. In the book of the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11, the Lord declared, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Let these holy, sovereign words secure your heart in the middle of the rubble today. For I know the plans I have for you. Notice that he does not ask you to draw up the plans. He already has them. His plans are not developed in response to your crises. They were established before you were born. And notice the character of his plans. They are designed to prosper you, not to harm you. The demolition of your cottage is not intended to harm you. It is designed to prosper you. It is the necessary pain that precedes the glorious expansion. He is taking away your temporary comfort to give you an eternal inheritance. He is dismantling your small, human-sized future to give you his divine, hope-filled future. So, let go of your little designs today. Stop trying to force the builder to follow your instructions. Rest in the wisdom of the master architect. If you are ready to let him tear down the cottage and trust him to build the palace, make this your declaration. Leave a comment below. Rebuild my life. Write it now. Rebuild my life, and let the peace of his blueprint quiet your anxious mind. Chosen one. Have you ever experienced a sudden, overwhelming wave of homesickness in a place you call home? You are sitting in your living room, surrounded by your family, your possessions, and your comforts. Everything around you says that you should feel safe, satisfied, and at peace. But then, you look out at a beautiful sunset or listen to a hauntingly beautiful piece of music, and suddenly, a sharp, sweet ache pierces your heart, and your eyes fill with tears. It is not a sadness caused by pain or loss. It is a longing for something you cannot name, a hunger for a beauty that always seems just out of reach. You feel like a stranger in your own house, a traveler passing through a land that does not belong to you. You try to ignore this feeling, telling yourself that you are being overly sentimental or unrealistic. But the ache remains, a quiet, sacred echo that refuses to be silenced by the things of this earth. You think, why can I not just be satisfied with the beauty of this world? Why does every joy here seem to leave me wanting more? The enemy whispers to you in this longing that you are permanently broken and incapable of happiness. He tells you that you are chasing a fantasy, a delusion that does not exist. He wants you to believe that this dissatisfaction is the proof that you are doomed to be restless forever. But you must understand the true, celestial nature of this sacred ache. The homesickness is not a sign of brokenness. It is, in truth, the proof of your heavenly citizenship. You feel like a stranger here because you are a stranger here. This world is not your home. It is only the lobby of the hotel. For a long time, you have tried to build your permanent dwelling place in the lobby. You wanted to find ultimate satisfaction in the earthly shadows of the true reality. But God has placed an eternal compass inside your soul, and it will always point toward heaven. So, He allows the earthly joys to remain incomplete, leaving a sweet, empty space in your heart. He keeps you hungry for the true beauty because He loves you too much to let you be satisfied with the shadows. The ache you feel is the sound of deep calling to deep calling you home. In his classic book, Mere Christianity, C.S. Lewis wrote profoundly about this mysterious desire. He wrote that if we find in ourselves a desire which no experience in this world can satisfy, the most probable explanation is that we were made for another world. He explained that earthly pleasures were never meant to satisfy our souls, but only to arouse the desire for our true home. Lewis wrote that we must not blame the earthly things for failing to satisfy us. They are only copycat beauties, pointers that are designed to lead us to the Creator Himself. If we mistake the pointer for the destination, we will end up frustrated, bitter, and disappointed. Let this brilliant realization quiet the unrest of your heart today. The dissatisfaction you feel is not a curse. It is a sign of your design. You were created by God, and your soul is too large to be satisfied by anything smaller than Him. The beauty of the sunset, the warmth of human love, and the joy of success are only echoes of His voice. They are whispers from the country you belong to, calling you to keep moving forward. When Jesus calls your name, He is calling you out of the illusion that this world is your destination. He is telling you that the hunger you feel in your chest is a holy hunger that only His presence can satisfy. He allows the earthly cups to run dry because He wants to lead you to the living water that never fails. Do not try to fill the empty space with more of the world. Do not search for the living among the dead. Accept the homesickness. Honor the ache. Let your desire point you toward the Father's house. The psalmist carried this deep, calling echo of the soul in the middle of his spiritual dry season. In the book of Psalms, chapter 42, verse 7, he cried out, "Deep calls unto deep at the noise of your waterfalls." Let these poetic, healing words wash over your searching spirit today. Deep calls unto deep. The deep within you is the eternal, spiritual capacity that God built into your soul. The deep of God is the infinite, limitless ocean of His presence, His love, and His truth. Deep calls unto deep. Your deep hunger is calling out for His deep satisfaction, and His deep love is answering by calling you into a closer intimacy than you have ever known. This exchange does not happen in the shallow waters of religion or performance. It happens in the quiet, hidden spaces of surrender. When you stop trying to satisfy your hunger with the cheap bread of the world, you begin to taste the manna of heaven. He is calling you out of the shallow ponds of self-sufficiency into the deep ocean of His grace. Do not be afraid of the depth. Do not cling to the shore of your comfort. Let go of the bank and let the current of His Spirit carry you. If you are ready to stop seeking satisfaction in the world and yield to the deep call of heaven, make this your declaration. Leave a comment below. I am made for heaven. Write it now. I am made for heaven. And let the peace of your true citizenship settle your restless soul. Chosen one. Have you reached the point where you are ready to let go of the steering wheel of your life? You have spent years trying to control the storms, manage the outcomes, and protect your own heart. You have fought with all your might to build a good life, only to find yourself exhausted and overwhelmed. But right now, in the quietness of this moment, you feel an unspeakable weight lifting from your shoulders. You feel a deep, quiet peace settling over your mind, like the calm after a long and violent storm. It is the peace of surrender, the realization that you no longer have to carry the burden of your destiny alone. You look down at your hands and you realize that they are finally empty of the mud pies you held so tightly. Your hands are open, your heart is soft, and your will is aligned with the will of your Father. You are no longer trying to force the doors open or argue with a builder's hammer. You are simply resting in His presence, waiting for His command. You think, what lies ahead of me on this new path? Will the future be as difficult and lonely as the past? The enemy whispers to you in this transition that surrender is the end of your freedom and your joy. He tells you that by giving up control, you have signed up for a life of boredom, limitation, and regret. He wants you to believe that the best parts of your life are behind you, but you must understand the true, glorious reality of this new beginning. Surrender is not the end of your story. It is, in truth, the first page of the real story you were born to live. You have not lost your freedom. You have finally found it. The cottage that collapsed was only a temporary tent. The palace He is building is your eternal home. For a long time, you have lived in the cover and the title page of your existence. You have fought for small victories, cried over temporary losses, and settled for cheap pleasures. But God has closed those chapters because He wants to begin chapter 1 of the great story. He has allowed every ending to prepare you for this beginning. He is calling you into a life of supernatural adventure where every day is managed by His grace. The surrender you made in the dark is the key that unlocks the door to your true identity. In the final pages of his masterpiece, The Last Battle, C.S. Lewis wrote a magnificent description of this transition. He wrote that, for the characters who had crossed over into the true reality, their earthly adventures were only the beginning. Lewis wrote, but for them, it was only the beginning of the real story. All their life in this world and all their adventures in Narnia had only been the cover and the title page. Now at last, they were beginning chapter 1 of the great story, which no one on earth has read, which goes on forever, in which every chapter is better than the one before. Let this glorious, hope-filled vision lift your weary spirit today. The life you have lived up to this point is only the cover of the book. The pain, the struggle, the closed doors, and the dry seasons were only the introduction. They were necessary to prepare you for the weight of the story that is about to unfold. Do not look back at the cover with regret or longing. Do not try to rewrite the chapters that have already been closed. Turn the page. Accept the invitation to step into chapter 1 of the great story. The architect who built the universe has written your destiny with his own blood. He has planned every detail, prepared every path, and secured every victory. And the story he has written for you does not end in defeat, loss, or disappointment. It is a story that goes on forever. And in his presence, every single chapter is better than the one before. The next season of your life will not be a repetition of the past. It will be an escalation of His glory, an increase of His peace, and a revelation of His power. Do not fear the unknown future. Trust the author who knows the end from the beginning. Let him write the next paragraph. The Apostle Paul, at the end of his long and challenging ministry, carried this focused, triumphant posture. In the book of Philippians, chapter 3, verse 14, he declared, I press on toward the goal, to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. Let this prophetic decree of victory align your steps today. I press on toward the goal. Notice that Paul does not look back at his past achievements or his past mistakes. He does not dwell on the trials he survived or the cottages that collapsed. He presses forward, keeping his eyes fixed on the prize of his high calling. And the calling is not earthly, it is heavenward, drawing him into the very presence of Christ. This is your posture in this new season. You are not looking back at the crowd you left behind or the mud pies that dissolved. You are pressing on, following the voice of the shepherd who calls your name. The prize is not human approval or material success. The prize is Him. When you have Him, you have everything. When you say yes to Jesus, you step into the flow of His supernatural power. He will give you the strength to run the race, the wisdom to navigate the paths, and the grace to win. So, let go of the last remnants of your self-will today. Open your mouth, lift your hands, and say yes to the author of your soul. If you are ready to turn the page, to step into chapter 1 of the great story, and to say yes to His calling, make this your declaration. Leave a comment below. I say yes to Jesus. Write it now. I say yes to Jesus. And let the joy of His eternal story flood your surrendered heart.